today's English service. I hope you all had a good week. I just want to ask you guys to join us in worship from home or wherever you are. God bless. Heaven thundered, was born. Life begins and ends in us to form. Faith commanded, mountains move. Fear is losing to our hope in you. Unstoppable God, let your glory go on and on. Impossible things shall be done. Unstoppable God, let your glory go on and on. Impossible things shall be done. Freedom conquered, all our chains undone. Sin defeated, Jesus overcome. Mercy triumphed, and the third day dawned. Darkness was denied when the storm was gone. Unstoppable God, let your glory go on and on. Impossible things in your name shall be done. Unstoppable God, let your glory go on and on. Impossible things in your name shall be done. Oh, 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 oh. Nothing shall be impossible. Your kingdom reigns unstoppable. We'll shout your praise forevermore. Jesus, our God, unstoppable. Nothing shall be impossible. Your kingdom reigns unstoppable. We'll shout your praise forevermore. Jesus, our God, unstoppable. Unstoppable God, let your glory go on and on. Impossible things in your name shall be done. Unstoppable God, let your glory go on and on. Impossible things in your name, they shall be done. Slow down, take time, breathe in, he said. He'd reveal what's to come. The thoughts in his mind, always higher than mine, and he'll reveal what's to come. So take courage, my heart, stay steadfast, my soul. He's in the waiting, he's in the waiting. Hold on to your hope as you're trying. He's never fading, he's never fading. Sing praise, my soul, find strength in joy. Let his words lead you on. Do not forget his great faithfulness. He'll finish all he has begun. So take courage, my heart, stay steadfast, my soul. He's in the waiting, he's in the waiting. Hold on to your hope as your triumph unfolds. He's never fading, he's never fading. And you who holds the stars
hope you guys have had a really great week. I hope you guys are having an amazing Sunday. Today I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about time and how the Bible looks at time and the time that we have on earth. So yeah, so I'm going to start off by praying, so I hope you guys can join me in this prayer. Dear God, I thank you for bringing us all here together to listen to your word. I thank you for the word that you've given us, Lord, and I pray that whatever I teach today, Lord, that it can come from you. I pray that it can touch someone, and I pray that we can all use what we learn and reflect upon it throughout this week. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. So yeah, as I said before, I'm going to be talking about time. So I want to start off by talking about how like the Old and the New Testament look at time. So as we know, like we already know that the Old and the New Testament they just have different tones. They have like different vibes to them. I don't know how to like say it, but yeah, they're very different. So the Old Testament, when it looks at time, it has this really like prophetic view. So it talks a lot about Jesus and like the future, things to come, things to look forward to. So it has a very, very positive outlook to time. Where it's not really like that in the New Testament. So the New Testament has this feeling of a bit of like a rush, like we need to quicken the pace, like we need to be wary of the time. We don't have enough time left. It looks at time in like an apocalyptic type of view, especially when you get to the end, to like Revelations. It talks a lot about like end times and stuff like that. So as we know, we are kind of living in that type of end times era, and we're kind of living a lot of the things that the New Testament were talking about. So things like COVID and just you know, the political climate, like everything, we can see that things are going in the route of time is coming to an end soon. We need to hurry up. We need to get closer to God. So yeah. So I want to start off by looking at Ephesians. My laptop's here, so I'm just going to look over here. So if you can all turn to Ephesians chapter 5 verses 15 to 17. I'm going to read it out. Hope you guys can follow me too. So Ephesians chapter 5 verses 15, it says, "Be very careful then how you live, not as unwise but as wise, making the most of every opportunity, because the days are evil. Therefore do not be foolish, but understand what the Lord's will is." So yeah, so I think this is such an amazing and important verse for all of us. It definitely shows us exactly what I was talking about before, about the New Testament and how I'm sorry, my camera keeps moving. But it definitely shows us that New Testament feel, you know, time is coming to an end and we have to be very wise with how we use it. And I think definitely as Christians and as just like everyday people, we get lost in time. We take time for granted. You know, we can be fooled into thinking that the time is on our side, like the days that we have, it's on our side. Like, you know, even with like small things like assignments, for example, I can be given an assignment in like December, it might be due for like end of January. I'm thinking, wow, I've got all this time left, time is on my side, I can do it whenever I feel, I don't need to worry about it. And obviously sometimes it is like that, but realistically, as a lot of us have seen, that time goes like this, and next thing you know, you're in the end of January and your assignment's not done. So time shows us every single time that is not on our side. It runs on its own basis and it's not waiting for us. We have to be wary and we can't be fooled by it. It literally says in that verse, it says days are evil. So we're not guaranteed tomorrow, we're not guaranteed anything. The days aren't working for us, but we have to work kind of against it. And we need to use our time wisely, just like it says. We shouldn't take for granted the days that we have. You know, as we've seen especially with COVID and the amount of deaths, we see that we cannot take time for granted at all. Time is precious and days are precious, so we shouldn't take it for granted. And especially as young people, when it comes to Christ, sometimes we feel like, you know, I can take this Christ thing seriously in a couple of years. Let me just have my uni fun, let me just have my youthful, you know, fun, and then in a couple of years I'm gonna start taking it serious. But from the way things are looking, we cannot do that. We don't know. It's not even about our own death. Christ might come before that. At this rate, the way things are going, Christ might come before all of it. So we cannot take any time for granted. Another thing is we need to be alert. I think that as Christians, a lot of time we aren't alert to the things around us. It tells us in Matthew that we shouldn't be worried about tomorrow because tomorrow has its own worries. But we need to be alert. You know, there's a difference between worrying and being alert. Alertness has this sense of, you know, utilizing. You know, you're not just sitting there being anxious when you're alert. You're aware, you're thinking, let me do this, let me do that, in order to use my time wisely. Whereas worrying just doesn't get us anywhere. Most times when we do worry, the time goes quicker and we end up feeling just as worried at the end of it, just like we were at the beginning. So yeah, we shouldn't be comfortable in the time that we have, because just as I said before, the days are evil. And I think Mark chapter 13 verses 32 to 37 really depict that like really well. So I'm going to read that also. So here in Mark chapter 13 verses 32 to 37, so I hope you guys can follow also. It says, "But about that day or hour no one knows, not even the angels in heaven, nor the Son, but only the Father. Be on guard, be alert. You do not know when that time will come. It is like a man going away. He leaves his house and puts his servants in charge, each with their assigned tasks, and tells one at the door to keep watch. Therefore, keep watch, because you don't know when the owner of the house will come back, whether in the evening or midnight, or when the rooster crows or at dawn. If he comes suddenly, then do not let him find you sleeping. What I say to you, I say to everyone, watch." So this is just like some background knowledge. This is the chapter where Jesus kind of talks about the end times and about the destruction of the temple. So I really like what it says here, where it has this analogy about a man leaving his house and leaving his servants to do what they need to do and making sure one is at watch. And obviously in life, we work on our own, you know, Judgment Day is just between us and God. So obviously we can't have people watching for us, because everyone else is going to get judged too. So we need to make sure that we are alert, so we're outside that door, but also we're getting things done at the same time. We're not just worrying, we're not just being frantic about everything and not doing anything about it, because I think that's a tool that Satan definitely uses. He makes us worried about everything. He wants us to worry about the time, worry about everything else going in our lives, making us feel like, oh, you know, because we can get comfortable and worry. We think, okay, at least I know, like at least I'm aware, unlike these other people who generally don't care about the time that we have. But no, it makes us we're not practical, we're not doing anything about it. So here, as it says we have to make sure that he doesn't find us sleeping. At the same time, I think to add to that, we should also make sure that he doesn't find us just anxious and outside the door, because when he comes, he's not going to say to us, oh, you know what, it's all right, like you were anxious about it, it's fine. The work still was not done. So it's important that we're prepared. If Christ wants to come back today, what are you saying? Like, how are you going to tackle that? Well, you can't really do anything about it. If he's here, but are you ready for that? And I think it's important that every single day we're ready for Christ. We live as if Christ is going to come back right now. We live as if today's our last day, today's our last minute, because otherwise time will eventually catch up to us, which isn't a good thing, as we've seen. I think another thing also is, in regards obviously to time, I've been talking about our relationship with Christ, but I think it's really important to talk just about regular things, you know, schoolwork, work and projects that we've been given in life. So I feel like Christ gives us these things, you know. For example, the university I go to, I should use my time wisely. I should work towards my goals, not because my university tells me to, but in a Christ-like way. You know, God has given me this opportunity. I can wake up in the morning, and if I have no other motivation to do what I need to do, the motivation in the back of my mind should be, you know what, Christ has given this to me. Let me use my time and utilize it, and use this as a way of worshiping God, you know, saying thanks to God. You know, Christ doesn't like laziness, so we can't be lazy as well, because time flies once again. So it's important that we use this analogy of time here, not just for our relationship with Christ and our the way that we talk to Christ and our worship time, but also our regular everyday life. We need to make sure that we use our time wisely there, and we use that as a way also to worship God and give thanks to God. So yeah, that was just something little, but I hope you guys can take something from this, and I hope you guys will be blessed, and I hope that this will be something you can reflect on during this week. So as I just said, make sure you use your time wisely, guys. But goodbye, God bless.